Hello on YouTube and Facebook. I'm over here on Instagram at the Tarot Philosopher. This is me on YouTube and Facebook at actually, I changed my YouTube and you can actually find me at Clear Tarot NYC on YouTube. That was great because before it was a bunch of weird numbers. And it takes me a long time to do things sometimes. Facebook page is still my personal Facebook page. I will probably change it one day. Friends, hello. My name is Rebecca. This is Free Tarot Fridays, a weekly live stream that I've been doing where I offer a free mini tarot reading to someone I have not read for before, who wants to just have a question answered. Hi, Sally. You don't need to request to be in the video. You can just pop a question in the chat and I will read for you. I'll chat a little bit about something tarot related and then we'll get to it. Anybody else who ever at any time wants to be read on Free Tarot Fridays, and if I haven't read for you before, send me a message and I will slot you in for a future one. I love doing it. Anybody who wants actual full-length reading or event booking or whatever, you can visit me at cleartarotnyc.com or just reach out to me here on Instagram and say, hey, how do I book with you? As people do. Friends, this week, I'm going to share with you a picture of me circa 3 a.m. last night into this morning. There I am in my bed, 9 of Swords. This has been coming up a lot for my clients lately. And so I feel like a lot of us are struggling with big decisions, but more than that, this is not really a decisions card. I take that back. This is a self-torture card. And it's a, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? All the possibilities of actions that could be taken, all of the things that could happen to us. And I was thinking about today how the 9 of Swords, which I like to call the insomnia card, and boy, is that accurate. I did not get a lot of sleep last night because of something that I will tell you about in a minute. 9 of Swords, insomnia card, the wonderful 3 a.m. hour where you question everything and can't possibly get to sleep until you figure out exactly what to do next. And I was thinking about how today this card, the 9, is preceded by the 8, which is this feeling of powerlessness. And I want to underscore the fact that it is not just a feeling, it is being powerless. This is a person who is bound and blindfolded, surrounded by swords she can't pick up and use. So there are times in life where we truly are not powerless to act. We have other kinds of power, but we are powerless over a situation in the usual way. So first comes this, then comes this, which I venture to say comes from fighting the powerlessness. And then this 9 of Swords is followed by this 10 of Swords, which is, nobody likes to see that. When people get this in their readings, they say, what does that mean? I say, what does it look like? Not literally being stabbed in the back, but that did not work. Pain, betrayal, just not like a great moment in life. And those moments in life happen, and that is why they're on our tarot cards. And I always think it's important not to be like, well, this really doesn't mean something that bad. Like, we'll survive it, but it looks like this. Friends, this was me last night and into this morning, because yesterday I found out I was, not to put too fine a point on it, the victim of a fraud, a scam. Not too badly victimized. We're knocking on wood, because I figured it out with the help of a good friend before anything was taken from me or done to me. And I did spend all last night doing fun things like freezing my credit and canceling accounts and changing lots of things. And for the first time in my life, it was kind of nice to know that my primary reaction and my primary emotion was not anger or hurt, but like, no, this isn't going to happen. We're going to get this done, which I think I would venture to say is a rather swordsy viewpoint, right? What are the swords? The way I break them down is we have 4 essential aspects of being a human alive on this planet. They are matters of the heart and emotions and relationships. They are matters of material goods in the physical world and the body, otherwise known as pentacles. The first one was cups. And then sometimes I like to think of them as the left and the right brain, right? The right brain is the wands, the creative mind, the intuition, the part that feels, but not feels like feelings or feels like sensory feelings, but feels its way, intuits, knows, we might say. I'm still looking for a good adjective. And the left brain, which is the swords, which thinks, analyzes, chooses, and decides and does stuff. And swords get a bad rap sometimes in artistic and tarot-y circles because, we think of them as like they're the accountants, right? And we're the artists, we're the wands. But like, what would you do without your swords? You couldn't function at all. You need to be able to make a decision sometimes and take action. The thing about swords, which I think is, oh, thanks, Manad Tarot. I don't pull cards for people. I do mini readings right here. So if you have a question or you want to know about something in your life, pop a question in the chat. I will do the mini reading for you today. Let me know. Yeah, so I got to get better at this. I forgot what I was saying because I'm tired because this was me all last night. Anyway, I was just thinking about, the nature of the sword, right? It's a weapon. We have to use it carefully. It's important. It can empower us. It can help us to do great things and solve great problems. And it also can accidentally cut us or someone else. It can hurt us. It's a thing we have to understand what it is and how to use it. And I often interpret this card when it comes up in people's readings. I talk about how we torture ourselves with our thoughts, right? We stay up late thinking of all the terrible things that could happen, the things we didn't do right, the things we want to change, and usually when I talk about it, I talk about the things that aren't happening and that the unhelpful imagination comes up with, and how we try to analyze ourselves into paralysis and how we try to figure out a situation. And the more we figure, the worse it gets, But I think today it's also important to say that it's not always made up. Sometimes we're having a lot of thoughts and we need to have a lot of thoughts and reason things out, maybe not at 3 a.m. And I still think that we can avoid suffering and torture, because what I learned from this experience is that sometimes, sure, you can't really know anything about a situation until you go into it, right? We can't figure out things in advance. Figuring out is generally suspect. Sometimes it's like figuring out is living up here and it gets us disconnected from our gut, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But we got to do it, right? We have brains. We have to use them. We have to sit down and analyze. And I did indeed think this out, talk to a lot of people, do some research, thought it was a good idea, but I felt terrible. And I thought that I wasn't allowed to pay attention to it because I didn't have a good reason. And I think that's where we get in trouble, right? We go, well, I'm using my brain. I'm thinking about it and figuring it out. I can't come up with hard evidence for why I feel bad about something. Therefore, I must be making it up. And sometimes, indeed, my friends, we are sitting at home thinking lots of unhelpful thoughts that are not based in reality. But sometimes we know things and we don't have to be able to prove them to ourselves or have facts to back them up. Yeah, so Maynard or Sally, give me a question in the chat. Let me know what you'd like me to read about, and I will read for the first person who does it. Next person I'll do next week. So I'm sitting here jamming until I get a question from you, and then I'll start in a moment. So I guess, it's the most boring sentence ever to be like, go with your gut, because that's not always right? Sometimes we have to have the left and the right brain have to work together, right? The gut has to tell the left brain, I have a feeling. And the left brain has to say, okay, let me look around and see if there's evidence to support it. And sometimes it comes back and say, I think you might be just afraid, and then the cups pop up and say, yeah, this is just a fear. We have to keep that dialogue going. But sometimes the wand side of things has to be like, I don't care what you're saying. It feels bad. And I think because these scams are going around, these hiring scams, right? I just want to empower whoever's listening to be like, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, and if you have a crappy feeling that you can't back up with facts, the gathering of facts might not actually be the point, right? If you're gathering all the facts and the facts look good, but you still have this feeling, I think that, let me just say that that's a fact in itself, because I don't have anything on paper that proves that this company is a scam. I just, at a certain point, was like, this is wrong. What's happening is wrong, and I'm out. And you know what? Sure, there's like a 2% chance that I'm wrong, and maybe it's a legitimate company, But as I said to my sister last night, I was like, you know what? I think I'm right. And even if I'm not, I don't want to work there. And that's really the point, right? We've got to have the swords and the wands working in tandem to be like, yes, I see the facts and I am clear-headed and I'm making decisions. And yes, I am feeling my way with my intuition and my gut. And those two things have to have a dialogue. We can't sacrifice one for the other. And I think there's a lot of us who are like, well, I can't pay attention to my gut instinct because I can't it doesn't hold up in a court of law. I don't have any proof for it. And sometimes your feeling is the proof. That's all I had to say. Okay, the first question I'm seeing is Maenad Tarot. What is happening with me and my friend Gift, which is a beautiful name. What are her feelings for me? Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for giving me a reason to put on makeup and come here and do this live stream instead of staring at the wall in a complete tizzy over what happened. And also thank you for giving me a chance to serve and do a little reading for you and think about your problems and not mine for a second. Not that this is a problem. What are her feelings for me? I mean, first of all, I always like to say that the tarot doesn't have cards that say she likes you or yes or no or relationship. So as you probably know, I think because there's tarot in your screen name, that's not what we're going to get. We're going to get something, I hope, a little richer than that and a little more detailed. And I also think that, the way the left brain and the right brain need to be harmonizing, we, the minor world, have to be in harmony with the major world, in which case we can't forget about them. We can't say, I'm powerful over everything. We have to know there's some things that are bigger than us, but we also have to know that we have power. So my first question as your friendly neighborhood tarot reader is, have you asked her how she feels instead of getting a tarot card reading? That's just a question that I have. I'm still going to do it. Okay. Mini reading. I committed to a mini reading. If you guys ever want a full-length reading with me, please reach out. Let me know. You can book with me through my website, cleartarotnyc.com, or just ask me and we'll set it up. We'll do Venmo, we'll do whatever. I have been reading a lot of events and parties. I also really love that. You can find me on thebash.com or gigsalad.com, or again, just drop me a line. Okay, Maenad Tarot, quick and dirty. Try not to talk too much today. What is going on with her and her friend, and what are her friends' feelings for her? And again, this reading is about you. I don't really care so much about your friend as your tarot reader. So it's not really going to be about what your friend's feelings are because she's not here in front of me. This is going to be about you. So we're going to see what the cards have to say. Well, I think, and I really relate to this, but I do think that, again, I'm going to ask that as a joke, but have you asked her? But I also think that the High Priestess is popping up immediately. And to me, this says woman alone. I mean, this says to me that you I'm reading you, but there's a vibe about this of you and possibly both of you holding the world and other people at arm's length a little bit, being very self-protective, hiding, just let's just say it. I mean, the High Priestess is not a woman in relationship. She is a woman alone, purifying from past experiences, maybe doing important work, thinking, living the life of the mind, but she's not she's not engaged with others. She is isolated. So I'm throwing out there that I wonder if that's what's going on a little bit, is that there's a kind of, we'll see it a little later too, but I wonder if you've been sort of very private, and that there's an intimacy that wants to happen, but that hasn't been able to. I think you're a little imposing. I think you're very powerful. I think the other person in maybe multiple relationships expects you to be the one to bring it up or make the first move, and you don't want to, and neither do I, and I get that. So let's see what else we have. There's fear of pain, big surprise, hopes and or fears, the Three of Swords. Nobody wants this. People ask me what this card means, and I'm like, what does it look like? It's part of life. But that kind of underscores what I was already thinking, which is I think that there's been a lot of, speaking of the left brain, rationalizing about relationships and rationalizing why you shouldn't ask certain things or take certain actions when it's really, and I say this with love, fear of being hurt, because it's happened before. And it's real long past the Hanged Man. I mean, I think in the past there was a relationship that left you hanging for a long time, and maybe speaking of powerlessness, left you feeling pretty powerless in matters of the heart. But I want to say that what we're moving away from is this big sweeping change in your life, whatever this death was, whatever the thing that died that needed to be over, an old relationship, an old way of being. We're moving away from that. It's been a very powerful time. No wonder you've kind of needed time to yourself to meditate and think. And we're going into something that's really lovely. So I think, for my money, I don't know you at all, but when I see this 6 of Cups, I think, what a beautiful friendship, you know? So what's coming up, I think, is we have a kind of innocence and playfulness, and let's enjoy that, you know, and like try not to like pin this down and be like, what is it, you know? And these the 6 of Cups is, you know, I always say, like, look at little children and the way they play together. You know, somebody just goes up to someone they don't know and is like, want to play? And the other one's like, yeah. And then they're friends. You know, it's not complicated. So I think what we have coming up for the next little while, if you want it, is a very like innocent and really lovely and healing connection between the two of you, where the focus, I think, gets to be more on like, isn't this fun? Like we're having so much fun together. And then I do think, based on these cards, that it is possible that it grows into something deeper, because what I'm seeing at the very end of things is this 10 of Cups, which is a very mature, more committed, more life partnery. I mean, it's not necessarily monogamous if that's not your thing, but more like grown-up-y, kind of putting down roots, love that spreads to the community. You know, there are children in here, they may not be literal children, but there's like a community that grows up around the love. So I think if you want it to be something like that, you're on track to do it. I think you just have some old unfinished business, and a little bit of pride, and some old stuff about like, well, in the past, I put myself out there and then I wound up hanging from a tree for a long time. So I think you could go one of two ways. I think you could get really vulnerable and say like, hey, how do you feel about me? I like you, you know? Or you could just trust that like you guys really like each other and that it's going to unfold really naturally. Either way, though, at some point you are going to have to talk about it. Like it's going to come up, you know. And I think there's also like a little like you need to get clear about like what your priorities are. I think you're juggling a couple things. I'm not sure if it's two relationships, but it might be like, who am I? You know, like, am I mostly focused on my work right now, or am I open to a serious relationship? And if it's not serious, it's not serious, you know. But I think there's a lot. You can play for a while and let it not be serious, but I think there's a lot of potential here. So that is what I see. Please keep in touch and let me know. Going, Mari or Mary. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Get in touch, get on the mailing list at cleartarotnyc.com, or drop me a line here and let me know how it goes. You guys, I can't remember. I can't see in my scroll. Sally has a question about a date. Can you check back in here next week and I'll read for you? You don't have to be here. I will read about your date on Friday, though. I don't know when your date is, so you might change your question. I'm not sure. But you could come back next Friday and I'll read for you. Or you can drop me a line now, but I'll reserve that space for you. So I'll see you next Friday at noon. You guys, always a pleasure. Thank you for letting me serve. See you in the future. Bye.